Hello, Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Inside the Force. Carabas. Gotta go, Hera's here.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here, and in studio with me today, I've got a couple guests back with me. One that was on here last week with me, Cody Geiler.
2 in a row.
How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here 2 weeks in a row.
Right, yeah.
This is a new record for me.
Actually, he kind of just showed up. I didn't really even plan on Cody being on here, though. But no, I'm just kidding. Cody's here with me, filling in as well. And then, of course, new to the show, brand new first episode. But if you watched our episode 3 commentary, he was on that, talking episode 3 with us, Anthony Guglielmi.
Hey there.
How are you, sir?
Hey there, hi there, ho there. I'm doing great.
Welcome.
Thanks. 197 episodes took you to get me on here.
Yes.
I declined him
even though the first 100 or so,
times.
I probably didn't even know you.
I declined him 196 times. He finally got me on here.
Right. Yeah. Found one that he actually really wanted to talk about some stuff, and he's here now with us.
No, I'm really grateful to be here.
This is awesome, yeah, because we... as we talked about a little bit last week, we went to Celebration together this past April, and Anthony, you experienced your first celebration this past year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm wearing my shirt. I'm wearing my shirt that I caught from the T-shirt cannon.
The gonk droids.
I gonked out at Jabba's palace.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool shirt.
It's got a little gonk droid.
You got a couple, and you wore the Maz one in the commentary.
Yeah, I wore my Maz one that I got a celebration. I have one more celebration, the 40th anniversary celebration.
Yeah, I got that one too.
That was the shirt you got at the Star Wars Celebration Live stage?
Yeah, this is a Celebration Live stage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've never caught a T-shirt out of a T-shirt.
Who shot it out the gun?
I don't. It was just like the host.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't any celebrity. We went over there because
Andy Gutierrez or somebody else.
It was I don't know, because we went over there because we were waiting on, because the store line is forever
yes
long. And so we went over there just to check it out, and they were just keeping the crowd busy, and so it was just
that's good. Okay,
it was a hype man.
Either way,
it was the hype man.
The hype man. Yeah, that's right.
That was shooting him out.
So what was your big takeaway from Celebration?
Like from Celebration,
yeah.
My biggest takeaway is more of a realization of how nostalgic and teary-eyed I get when I'm super tired of being in the car for that long, going down a Celebration, and then having all of those people on stage, like that has never happened before, since they haven't really been on stage together in forever.
Yeah, your first Celebration being the 40th anniversary, that's pretty special. Yours too, right?
That was my first as well. And it was.
So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because that could have set me up for disaster for future celebrations.
How so? What do you mean?
Just because it was that big.
Oh.
It was that big, and I'm going to come to expect it every year.
Well, and each time there is something big.
Okay.
Well, if you go for 2019, J.J. Abrams might bring you some pizza.
That's right.
He might.
In line.
Yeah.
He may. Yeah, no, Jay. Yeah, there's always. I'm telling you, I've been to. I mean, I can't remember now. How many have I been to? 6 or 7 of them now. It never disappoints, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't disappoint. I'm just saying it was like a huge one to go to for the first time.
There's always something. Now there's always something, right? There's always a new movie, new trailer, or something, some kind of celebration. Right. Think about it, 2019. Well, we're still a year away from the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, so that won't really happen. But even though 2019 hasn't even been announced totally yet, so we don't.
Hopefully it happens.
So much. So let's talk about. Let's get into some of these news. Kind of a little different format today. We normally obviously just buzz through the news with Casey and kind of hit on some topics afterwards, but we're gonna hit some news and kind of go through talk about each one of these, because they're big stuff that's just come out this past week. Last week, when I had Cody on here as well as Russell, we talked about the big news then, which was the release of Colin Trevorrow as the director for episode 9. So obviously our big conversation last week was, well, who's going to direct episode 9?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that has been fulfilled, and we're going to save that for later.
Right. I would just say to Cody's point earlier, J.J. Abrams might bring me pizza in 2019, but I'd rather have another selfie with Ryan Johnson.
Yeah,
We'll get to that later.
that was also a pretty good first for Celebration, was getting to go and not really meet Ryan Johnson, but get to go take a selfie with him, and he was going through the line with fans.
Oh man,
if any of you were there,
that was awesome.
He spent so much time with each individual. Like, it wasn't like it was just like take a picture. And, like, he actually had a conversation with me. Wow. After I took a picture.
Did you know we had a brief talk with JJ?
Oh,
Celebration before.
Oh, wow.
Did you guys hear that one?
I didn't hear that you got to talk to him.
Yeah, well, real quick. So Celebration, Anaheim. Was it Anaheim? Yeah, it was Anaheim in 2015, April 2015. Right, as everybody's gearing up for The Force Awakens. So JJ's there at Celebration now. It's me, Charles, and Chad, and we met our buddy Rainey there. But it was just the three of us that flew out to Anaheim. Mm-hmm. So we see this. First off, I'm totally getting off. So I never planned on talking about this story, but real quick, because you guys haven't heard it. But so we're standing there in line, or at this kind of on the backside where the autograph booths are and all that stuff, and looking at the board of all the people we can take pictures with. And that's when you all saw the picture with Luke and Leia, the Skywalker twins, right? The three of us. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there going down that list, and we see the Skywalker twins, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're getting that picture, right? As soon as we do that, we turn around, and literally there is Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams with a little security team walking literally right by, like, to where that door is. I mean, just, we're like, why didn't we have our phones out? Totally missed it. So that was the first thing. So we were like, so at least we saw JJ. Well, then literally we found out later that day he was doing an interview. So this is when they had streaming going on, but it was not as often as they do now. It was only a couple little spots.
I watched the Anaheim stream, and they interviewed JJ from their they had like a little cantina set up thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So behind that, they had another interview set up for just a recording. It wasn't live stream. It was just a separate interview session. So we had heard that they were going to do one with JJ right there and Kathleen Kennedy. So we go set up at this area, like me and Chad are like, where we saw people come over after they get interviewed to do autograph stuff. So me and Chad are standing right there. And literally across the way, so that's kind of behind where they were doing the interview, behind them. So that we were looking at their backs. All of a sudden we look beyond in front, we see Charles. And Charles is waving. He's like, come over here. Mm-hmm. We're like, no, we're staying right. He's like, no, come here. And we look at each other like, oh, we're going to regret this. But we went because there wasn't that much of a crowd over there. So anyway, we walked over there, and sure enough, they do the interview for about 15, 20 minutes. They're doing the interview. They get done. They walk over to where we were. Oh. And JJ's over there signing, taking pictures. And I'm looking at Charles like, you son of a... So we're like just standing there. All of a sudden... He starts walking. He's like, sorry. They're trying to rush him off. So he's walking. We see him. People that aren't seeing me on here, but I'm looking at him, following him, and there's like going 90 degrees. He's walking down this aisle. All of a sudden, he ducks under the ropes and comes right over to us, right over to all of us.
Wow.
Dang.
And he comes over and he comes right in front of Chad. he goes, because it's so funny because we're so surprised. We had our phones out, right? Mm-hmm. I got a couple pictures, but he looks at Chad and he goes, what do you got? And he's like, because he handed him his badge and he's like, I don't have a marker. He's like, what? You don't have a marker? We're like, no, we don't. He's like, oh. So he just reached out and kind of shook both our hands. He's like, sorry guys. And then he walked away. That was it.
Oh, man.
So for 2019, bring a marker and a poster.
And Charles, it's funny because Charles got pictures of us like talking to him real quick, like,
Oh, that's funny though.
Anyway, JJ, man, it was cool. So that made our weekend. I mean, that was like the first day. We were like, "What the? That's awesome." Anyway, JJ. So that was and then Ryan Johnson, of course, like what you just said. While we were camping out the night before the big episode, no, was it? Yeah, it was episode. No, what was it? It wasn't episode 8 panel, was it?
Yeah,
it was. It was last Jedi panel, right?
Yeah,
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Because that's where they released the trailer, right?
I almost fell over when I went up to get a selfie with them.
Yeah, well, it was like sitting on that 1 in the morning. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. At least,
like that. Yeah. It was pretty late because I remember we were all kind of we were playing some Star Wars Destiny, which is for any listening, it's a card game that Fantasy Flight does, and it's really cool. And we were kind of playing games, and I think we were kind of winding down on the games, and thinking about like, oh, we're gonna sleep or something. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, we just see this like crowd of people, and I see this tall dude with a ponytail, and I was like, who's this ponytail dude? Everybody's running over to, and then kind of like people kept running over more. So I was like, well, I'll go look and see what's going on. It kind of like went over there, like stepped over a couple of people laying down, and like peeked my head over. Noticed that the ponytail guy is actually the security guard, like bodyguard for Ryan Johnson. Who's like, I don't know, maybe 5'6".
Yeah.
So he's in the middle of all these people, you can't see him, but ended up finding him.
But he was out there for like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, he went
signing
through the entire
everything.
line.
He signed my badge. See, he had a marker. He had a marker.
He was prepared.
He had a marker, JJ. Anyway,
if you're listening,
another reason why he would probably be a better trainer.
So, all right, we'll get to that. Big talk there for that because we got a lot of thoughts on that. But associated with that, though, we'll briefly say, get our thoughts on is that the release date for episode 9 has been pushed back. So we will not be getting episode 9 until December 20th, 2019, which, again, falls in line with all the movies that we're getting. Han Solo, fortunately, has not been moved yet.
Who knows?
Yeah. But we're technically still getting that May 25th, 2018.
Which is like 6 months after The Last Jedi?
5 months.
5 months. Yeah. Not even.
5 months.
It's just strange to me. But
yeah. And we haven't had a trailer yet for it. I haven't seen anything for it.
Yeah.
So
we're going to have to wait a year and a half for the next
And they
Star
just
Wars
wrapped.
movie.
They're not even fully wrapped. Paul Bettany, who now has a cameo in Han Solo, he just
Which I don't think
wrapped.
we mentioned last week, did we?
We didn't.
Because that kind of just recently came about.
Correct.
Which is exciting.
Which I just want to say real quick that Ron Howard chose his words very poorly today when he tweeted about Paul Bettany like leaving, like being wrapped. He said, had to say goodbye to another good friend today, Paul Bettany. And I was like, did Paul Bettany die?
Oh.
Like that's how I read it. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, well.
that would be a really panicking sort of.
That is panicking.
On set.
That is. No,
I guess I might have been the only one who
Paul
read
Bettany's
it like
fine.
that. Yeah.
He just wrapped filming on the yet untitled Han Solo film, is what they keep saying.
Hashtag untitled.
Yeah,
or
untitled Han Solo. It's like, what? So, what do you think? What do you think about the move?
I mean, obviously, I would have rather seen the movie earlier, but given the circumstances of Colin Trevorrow leaving, hiring JJ, I think it makes sense. They got to start over with the script. That's what the statement Lucasfilm released said. They had script issues, creative differences.
I've read. It's the 4th script.
No, I'm sure it is.
Oh yeah,
well, they'll probably go through a lot more than that. I mean,
right, but I mean, just in this short amount of time, that's a lot. So there's obviously been some issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, you think about what happened with The Force Awakens. I mean, there wasn't any sort of like firing of director, but they had Michael Arndt come on to write, and then they had to take his story, take him off of it, put Kazan and JJ together to work on the script, and then Harrison Ford, hurting his leg or breaking his leg probably was the best thing that could have happened for the movie,
right?
Because it gave him more time with the script. And so I think this time they're just being preemptive and saying, let's just take more time. Let's not rush it.
Yeah.
And I think that'll probably be better for the movie.
Sure.
Right. And I think you've made this point, which is a good point, Cody. Why doesn't Star Wars just own December? Like, it just makes sense. From now on, like, just own December. Because I was surprised that Han Solo was going to be in May.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like they were trying to go back to May. Because that's why Han Solo was coming out in May. Episode 9 was supposed to come out in May. Mm-hmm. So I felt like they were going to go back to the traditional May because Force Awakens was supposed to be out in May.
Right.
They pushed that back. So
or just own May.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. That's what I think they were trying to get back to. But to me, it doesn't matter. Once a year, I don't care if it's May, June, July, September. I don't care. Once a year is fine.
I mean, they could release it in January and it'd still make a lot of money.
Oh gosh,
everybody would still see it.
But the holidays are there is more opportunity for moviegoers in December. You do tend to be up against more competition in December. I feel like.
I think that has a large role to play because we kind of talked about.
Well, because Avengers.
Well, you have Infinity War, coming out, and then supposedly Avatar 2.
Wow,
which I think we found
Avatar is 2020.
Avatar 2 is the following December from Episode 9. Yeah, 2020.
So maybe they'll go back to May after that. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it was always inevitable. Now that you think about how Avengers is coming out early May, because this was literally scheduled 2 weeks after Infinity War comes out. This was supposed to come out,
right?
So
they don't want to compete with their own movie.
Yeah. Because you're already going to see a big drop off from week 1 to week 2 with any movie.
It'd be a huge drop off to week 3 if this came out.
Yeah, if Episode 9 comes out. So
it's a smart move.
Which begs the point: if Avatar's coming out in December of 2020, does that mean that we're getting 9 in December 2019? And then the standalone movie in 2020 in May.
Possibly.
Maybe we're getting another 5-month break.
And maybe that's the trend. Although this is the last episodic movie, but your episodic movies are December, your standalones maybe start going in May. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Possibly last episodic movie.
Yes, we don't know that for sure.
They're going to make more.
They're going to make it 10, 11, 12?
They have to.
Probably.
I think it's too much of a cash cow.
Well, but you can do standalones. I mean, you can just do standalones, but who knows? They probably will do it.
I don't know.
10, 11, 12.
Ray and Kylo got to have kids.
Right. Yeah, right. We'll see how that.
Are you shipping Ray and Kylo?
All right, some quick, brief things too. That just a reminder: Star Wars Rebels returns Monday, October 16th. Of course, the Blu-ray for season 3 is out there right now and loaded with a lot more than the usual Blu-rays that came out for first 2 seasons. This one has a ton of commentaries and featurettes and stuff like that. So check that out. I still have had the worst luck. It's not in stores around Lexington. Like it's not around. I don't get it. I think one of the Targets I found an empty spot where it would have been, but it's sold out. So, but it's just a little rack, like a little spot. Once, but had like a place for 4 of them, maybe. I don't know.
Weird. Interesting.
But I can't. I'm probably just gonna get it on Amazon, I guess. But and I'm not plugging Amazon because whatever.
I was going to ask, why don't you just get 2-day shipping?
I know. Monday, October 16th, Rebels. So new date, new day of the week that Rebels is on. I think it was on Saturdays last year.
I saw some weird information about what time it's released after the premiere.
I don't think they fully have announced the time.
Okay.
I think it's the last I thought it was at 9:00. But yeah, I saw the same thing you did, which kind of showed times throughout the day.
Coming out at midnight and then replaying through the night and then into the next day.
I guess that's possible.
It seemed really strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's possible. But it premieres on Disney XD. I think usually as soon as the day comes when it does release, they release on the app in a way. And sometimes they release on the app a day before, a week before.
For season 1, they were releasing on the app
a week before.
So if you watched episode 1, at the end of it, episode 2 was out on the app. So if you watched it and I did that for a little while because I was really excited about Rebels, when it was starting up, and I wanted to go ahead and watch the next one. But then just the time between episodes became larger.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be back. Of course, it's the 4th and final season for that. Comic news. They released a preview kind of, or what they call it, preview for usually pages of comics that come out in a few months. They call them previews basically, but it's not for the next month's or next week's. It's a few months ahead. So in January, or I'm sorry, in late December, a comic based on Luke and Leia on Crate will be coming out. Crate is the new planet that's featured in the teaser for The Last Jedi. Apparently, Luke and Leia visited it.
That's super interesting.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that Luke and Leia went to Crate.
No one did.
Now we know.
No one did. Really great artwork. The shot that you see them on there, and of course you can tell it's Crate because it's got the red dust that those vehicles are kicking up in the trailer.
And Luke's wearing what looks to be sort of a more bluish colored rebel
kind of thing,
pilot suit.
Oh yeah.
Which makes him look like he's like flying a Y-wing or something. That's just what I associate with that sort of fighter pilot outfit. And then he's got this like cape on. Just looks super heroic.
It's awesome looking.
I'm assuming the capes and he's got goggles around his neck. I'm assuming that's all, there's some sort of dust storm that happens on Crate with all that red mineral dust.
Yes. But it's called Star Wars The Last Jedi Storms of Crate #1. It's a special one shot and it's coming December 27th. Written by Ben Acker and Ben Blacker. Wow. Written by Ben Acker and Ben Blacker.
Huh.
And the art is by Mike Mayhew. So it says the comic rewinds to the Galactic Civil War, following Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia Organa as they take up arms on this salt-covered world and search for a new rebel base. So this takes place between A New Hope and Return of the Empire Strikes Back. So they haven't made it to Hoth yet. That's the whole Star Wars series that's happening. So it's a great. I think it's awesome. So it's salt basically. I think that's what possibly the red dust is.
Okay,
it says salt covered planet. So check that out. We will be now. Ben Acker, I think, as we move on to the next kind of news, I think he's a writer, and I thought I saw his name as part of that For a Certain Point of View.
Oh, is he?
I think so, but. So we will talk about that next. So interesting enough, they released in book news. So we knew this book called From a Certain Point of View was coming out. It's 40 stories written by 40 authors. Really short stories based around A New Hope. Now, I guess it's not fully clear whether or not it takes place just during the movie time. Sounds like it could branch out a little bit. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the stories are based on the characters you see in and out of the movie A New Hope. They released throughout the week on Twitter, and I think you said you found it maybe on Reddit or something like that. They've got these graphics out there now. If you haven't seen them, you can probably search them real fast. But they kind of started teasing some of the stories that they're doing, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, a bunch of little quotes from each of the stories and
with silhouetted images.
Yeah,
it's neat.
So I do want to first point out and talk about before we get into that. So anyway, I won't name them all, but here's some of the authors: Ben Acker, like I said, Ben Blacker as well. But some of the ones I recognize that I know: Delilah Dawson, who just did Phasma. Alexander Freed, Ashley Eckstein, Jason Fry. These are guys that have written Jason Fry did the adaptation, I think. Oh, he's doing the adaptation to Last Jedi. Alexander Freed did Rogue One. You've got Greg Rucka, who's a big-time comic book writer. Charles Soule is a big-time comic book writer who's on here. John Jackson Miller. Everybody knows him from A New Dawn, as well as several others. Claudia Gray, E.K. Johnston, Paul Kemp, who did Lords of the Sith. You got Chuck Wendig, who did the Aftermath trilogy. I mean, Paul Dini's on here. I mean,
Paul Dini, that's going to be awesome.
Silly Dude Taconic. I mean, there's so many good authors on here.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably know all these other ones on here. Beth Revis, who did the Rebel Rising book. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I'm excited about the Griffin McElroy. He wrote one about a Jawa, but Griffin McElroy is from the Mabim Bam podcast, My Brother and Me, which is hilarious. He's hilarious. And I've been following him for probably, I don't know, 10 years. But I didn't know he was on the author list. I guess I just glanced over it or just didn't think it would be that Griffin McElroy.
Right.
And I saw a tweet from him with his little silhouetted image and quote. And I was like, whoa. So it kind of took me off guard, but I was excited about it.
That's the one that's about a Jawa named Jot.
Yeah, Jawa named Jot.
It's going to be really interesting.
On Tatooine. It's called Stories in the Sand. So I'm pretty excited about that.
This is basically like a who's who of amazing authors. Some currently, like you mentioned, in the Star Wars universe now, and some authors, you have Will Wheaton is writing excerpt. And let me see what he's doing. He's doing his story takes place on Yavin of the rebels that are left on Yavin base when they leave to go make the attack run on the Death Star.
Yes.
So just really interesting stories like that where you just get to dig into things that are happening around the time of A New Hope, literally during A New Hope. Which there's a ton that I'm excited for. Gary Whitta is an author that I really like. He actually did the first draft of Rogue One, and he's a writer for some. He did Book of Eli film, if you guys have seen that, and he's writing one about Ramus Antilles, and that one is supposed to sort of bridge the gap of he's the captain of the Tantive Four, kind of between Rogue One and A New Hope. So that's where it's kind of unclear where the timeline of some of these start. And where the short stories are all, because he's the captain that Vader picks up and chokes.
Correct.
At the beginning of A New Hope. So yeah, just really interesting.
Just
stuff.
So you know, it's the Tantive. It's Tantive 4.
Tantive.
Yes.
What did I say?
What everyone says is Tantive.
Tantive.
Because that's what everybody knows. The only reason I know is because the audiobooks. It's Tantive. Tantive 4.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, that's what I was getting at. The audio, I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, some of these stories.
And one of the stories is done by Pablo.
Pablo does one, correct. Yeah. But you have, if you look at these images, these graphics, like there's one of a stormtrooper on a dewback. So I guess it's about one of those stormtroopers that is looking for the droids. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking of Combing the Desert from Spaceballs. Yeah.
We ain't found.
Yeah. You have
possibly a story about how Lando got the Millennium Falcon.
I don't really.
It's like they have the quote about
Yeah,
Lando and gambling.
Yeah, it's a little,
and it's got a silhouette of the Falcon. So I'm just
it's a little deceiving of really exactly what these stories are about with the imagery that they've showed. Because again, there's another one. There's an image here where it has goggles on it. It somewhat looks like Rey's goggles.
That's what I thought,
but they're actually Afra's goggles. Afra is a new character that was introduced in the comics, associated with Vader. So
Dr. Afra, yeah,
very interesting to see if she's in A New Hope somewhere and somehow crosses paths again with this.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, the Lando one says heroes were Lando's favorite opponents at the gambling table. The worse the odds got, the bigger they bet, because heroes were suckers. It's called The Angle by Charles Soule.
Charles Soule, yeah, he wrote the Lando's comic series, a short run five issue miniseries a couple years ago. Which is one of my favorite books series, because if you want to read it, I've mentioned on here. And we actually gave away that copy. We gave that copy at the celebration, but it's Lando finding the Emperor's one of the Emperor's private shuttles. It's an incredible story.
And then there's
there's Sand People. There's Banthas.
Yoda's story.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because Cody here sent me an audio sample.
Yeah, I found this link online today. I was just kind of scrolling the Star Wars Reddit page, and if you go to sorry, let me pull it up here. If you go to penguinrandomhouseaudio.com, you can find where you can pre-order and buy the audiobook, but they have a place where you can just listen to it. It's about a 5.5 minute sample from this story is called There Is Another, and it's I can't remember who it's by, but Mark Thompson,
Gary Schmidt
is the writer, and Mark Thompson does the voices, and it's really cool. So if you get a chance, definitely encourage you to listen to that. I won't give anything away.
Yeah,
no, we will give it away because I want to talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
No,
they kind of drop a bomb on you.
It's out there, so I don't want I don't want to usually talk about things that are speculation, but it's out there, so we can talk about it. So
awesome.
Get a chance to go listen to that. And people that listen to the show have heard me say it for a year now at least. I'm a big fan of the audiobooks. That's the only way I listen to these novels. I'm actually to the point where I'm getting ready to put together my rankings of all the novels that I've done. And again, I've done them all through audiobook. And now it's one thing because this is a clear example. This excerpt sample right here that we're getting ready to talk about has a very, very, the importance of this conversation between Obi-Wan and Yoda to the Star Wars canon is it's indescribable. It's so deep and adds so much to A New Hope and Empire.
Yeah.
And to me, I wouldn't get that. I wouldn't feel that emotion just reading this. Hearing him do the voices, Mark Thompson, who is
amazing.
His Obi-Wan
I've only heard this
really
clip
good.
And
Mark Thompson, I'm getting him on the show. I've actually got a good connection. I'm telling you, I'm going to have this guy on the show because I really want to talk to him.
His Obi-Wan is spot on.
He spots on everybody. Tarkin, I thought if you heard him if you listen to Thrawn, you would think he was doing the voice on Rebels. It's exactly the same. Even Vader, he does really well. His
Yoda in this is good.
Good.
His Yoda is really good.
So anyway, this conversation, now it's a little unclear when it happens. We're guessing it takes place somewhat at the end of A New Hope.
Yeah, it makes you think. The beginning of the conversation is Obi-Wan talking to Yoda, and Yoda's on Dagobah. So, Obi-Wan's a Force ghost at this point. So you assume if all these stories are around A New Hope, it takes place right after, him and Vader are dueling, and he, becomes one with the Force.
Yes.
But, yeah, it kind of leaves it open. It doesn't really... And it's not clear whether or not this is the entire short story, because it's a 5.5 minute sample. It may be all of the conversation, but there may be a little more that gives you some context.
It's hard to say how long these are. The book looks like to be a normal sized novel. So if it's 40 chapters, which some of the audiobooks I have read are 40 chapters, and still the chapters are 10 minutes long, roughly 10 to 12 minutes long. So this is there's probably more to this conversation, a lot more. So anyway, the conversation is Force Ghost Obi-Wan talking to Yoda about training. It's funny because didn't he says, it's time for you to train the Skywalker, young Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, I will. Okay, so if you want to be not spoiled, skip about 5 minutes.
Just go listen to it right now.
Go listen to it right now.
Penguin,
Pause it. Listen to it right
now. Audio.com. Listen to it, and then come back to this and hear what we have to say about it.
Yeah. Okay. Last chance. Here we go. So when he says to Yoda, I want you to train young Skywalker, Yoda reveals that he's ready to train Leia.
He says her.
At first, yeah.
Her.
Well, at first it says that he gets really excited.
Yes.
Which threw me. I was like, why is Yoda excited about training Luke? And then he says, I've been waiting for a while to train her.
Whoa, man.
Right.
That is a mind-blown moment. For me, I was like...
That's huge.
That is huge because, as you well know, now obviously everything has been laid out there in the movies and stuff for all these years. Leia has always been part of the rebellion. Basically, this whole thing about defying the Empire and all this stuff. I mean, Luke has no idea. Luke has no idea about this.
Right.
Up until A New Hope, no idea who he is. Leia, now granted, Leia probably didn't know who she was as far as because I think it's hard for me to remember, because in Bloodline, I think it was kind of the novel Bloodline, it was kind of told to her when she found out that she was adopted and all that stuff, which I think was after A New Hope, because she found a recording of Bail Organa that was trying to tell her, because she inherited, just again, side note, she inherited a title somewhere because of Alderaan being destroyed, and in all these relics and stuff that Bail had, she found a recording because Bail said, if something happens to me, you're going to get all this, and in case I didn't tell you, here it is. And that's how she finds out she's the daughter of Vader. She finds out earlier. That was when he was trying to tell her.
Okay.
So she had not known that, obviously, and she had again found out at some point her mom was Padme. I can't remember exactly when, but I should know that. Anyway, she knew she was adopted the whole time. She's known she's been adopted. So, but either way, she's behind her father, and Bail Organa, and knows his role in the Republic, in the rebellion, knows his role of using the Senate as a sympathizers that the Empire is destroying worlds, and we need to, change it. And anyway, it comes a whole other different conversation. But anyway, Leia's been in it. Leia's been part of this fight that Obi-Wan and Yoda have been waiting to do again, right?
Yeah.
Luke is not. So it makes complete sense.
It does.
That Yoda would say, no, give me the girl that's been ready this whole time and has that mindset, right?
Not knowing that they're twins, you would assume that Leia is easily 5 to 10 years older than Luke, based on their personalities.
What do you mean not knowing they're twins?
Because based on what Yoda is talking about in this short story.
Yeah.
Like, she's been in it. Like, she's got this maturity level.
Like her experience.
Where,
sure.
Yeah, where Luke is bragging about how good of a pilot he is.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And, doesn't really have any experience whatsoever. That's my point. I'm not...
Yeah, and that's where it kind of gets to be a little sketchy, is when this conversation takes place, because what's still canon, which is kind of, again, makes you really wonder about this. What's still canon is that from the destruction of the first Death Star, when Obi-Wan says, "The Force will be with you always," that's the last thing. That's the last thing he says to Luke until he shows up after he escapes the Wampa 3 years later. Mm-hmm. So in 3 years, Obi-Wan has not communed with Luke, showed up to Luke, told him to do what to do, because in the comics, there's a book called Heir to the Jedi that came out that's after A New Hope. He's searching on his own what to do. How do I become a better Jedi? How do I become a Jedi? How do I do this? Now, he has found some
Obi-Wan's
journals. He's
There's
found
a really
that.
Great comic in the Star Wars.
Yes.
I forget what number, and just the Marvel
There's been
Star Wars run.
There's been a couple journal stories,
but really cool comic.
But they don't really tell him. They're still not really teaching him anything, right? There's no one's training Luke. Luke's kind of just going with it.
Right. So this is basically just a small 5-minute piece of the 3-year fight Obi-Wan has had with Yoda about training Luke.
It makes you wonder.
Old.
It really does make you wonder how long he had to, I guess.
Yeah.
Because why? Because why did it take him 3 years?
Well, I'm sure there's part of the journey to becoming one with the Force, or a Force ghost, because not every Jedi that dies just becomes a Force ghost. And, Qui-Gon set up some of that legacy in, if you see any of the Clone Wars, they have an arc that dives into that, and it's really interesting. Liam Neeson comes back and voices Qui-Gon Jinn. It's amazing. So he was able to...
talking about the Mortis thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was able to sort of find a way to get his voice to be able to commune with Yoda, but he wasn't able to fully become a Force ghost. So some of that stuff hasn't really been answered. How do you become a Force ghost? I mean, nobody really knows.
No.
So maybe
Very true.
there's a journey that Obi-Wan's soul or whatever is, being has to go through to get to that point. So that could be a part of it. Because his voice, again, just comes to Luke when he's in the cockpit.
True, but if he's there with Yoda covering him up, isn't he not a Force ghost already?
Unless it takes place 3 years later.
Unless it takes 3 plays.
Yeah. So
Right,
it's,
but-
yeah.
But Yoda becomes a Force ghost like that.
Well, because he's Yoda.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of Qui-Gon gets brought up a couple times in the story too.
Fantastic, yes.
Yeah.
So
that was the second mind blow.
So the second mind blow is apparently his blanket is Qui-Gon's cloak.
Yeah, Yoda's little blankie.
Crazy.
It's just like, so I just wonder, like, who took Qui-Gon's robe after he died? I would assume, like, Obi-Wan might have had it for sentimental reasons. Did Yoda just keep it? And then at the Jedi Temple, he's like, well, this place is going crazy. Better grab Qui-Gon's robe and bring it with me.
How would he have that?
I don't know.
That I don't know.
But that would be a really sentimental thing to Obi-Wan.
Totally.
And then Obi-Wan's going on about, where's this pot that you have I guess he cooks some chili in or soup or whatever he makes, which makes me wonder, has Obi-Wan been to Dagobah in his exile to go visit Yoda? Because why would he know that there's a pot missing that usually is in Yoda's hut?
See,
I think there's a lot of interesting questions this brings up. Because it's like if Obi-Wan was in exile and went to go visit Yoda in Dagobah, they're just sitting around having some Jedi stew, talking about Qui-Gon's robes.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, it could just be because he's been hanging out as a Force ghost
Yeah.
with Yoda this whole time.
Yeah.
So
There's questions that it brings up.
Yoda does change right before he leaves for Dagobah in 3, doesn't he? But that wouldn't be Qui-Gon's robe.
No. He does show up. There's a deleted scene of episode 3 where he shows up on Dagobah. I wish they would have kept it in there.
Honestly, when I listened to this, I was thinking it in my head, how he got, because I'm picturing, Dagobah scenes from Empire, and then that scene when he arrives and wondering, like, in his ship, do I remember seeing, like, Qui-Gon's robe? And like, just wondering, and I was like, nah, I don't remember. But I honestly thought it was in the movie, just because I'm, like, remembering scenes that I've seen, but...
we don't know if he's actually from Dagobah. He could be from Dagobah. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Obviously, that hasn't been explored yet, but...
I have a far out theory or that we talked about on the way
What's that?
over here, which was that this is just a slight way, since Yoda goes and he goes and dies in Qui-Gon's robe, if it's a way that somehow that's now a loophole of the Force that helps Qui-Gon become a Force ghost.
Oh, right.
So they can bring back Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's it's a far out theory. But Star Wars has done weird things.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I could see them having a lot of voices and Force Ghost appearances in 8. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, getting Frank Oz to voice Yoda. That's been speculated a lot.
Has been speculated.
Maybe Liam Neeson's voice. He was at Celebration. He sent a little video.
yeah,
They cut together a lot of clips of former actors from the Star Wars
he actually made
saga.
a joke saying that he was filming a Star Wars movie
Yeah.
when he was calling in.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It'd be cool to hear Liam Neeson's voice again.
Oh, man.
yeah.
It'd be awesome. But yeah, these stories are coming. It's coming, I think, October 3rd is the release date. So very soon, here in a couple weeks, you'll be able to buy that in stores as well as on audible.com or any Audible site that you can get your hands onto. And then, of course, just look at those graphics with all these stories. Again, R4, the red one, they call the red one, the one that they bought before they actually, I think it's R4.
The bad motivator.
I have the pop figure of it. The bad motivator, yeah. There's a picture of a sand crawler, the picture, there's a picture of Tantive 4, like you said. There's incredible stories. I really can't wait to get into this book.
There's one that we have to mention, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. It's by Tom Engelberger, and it's
What a cool name.
The title is simply just called Wills, and it says, "May the force be with me as I begin the sacred task of writing in the Journal of the Wills." ...
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm super excited to. I don't know who this is coming from. I don't know who's talking about writing in the Journal of the Wills.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's going to be huge because we haven't really gotten information about the
That's
Wills.
even weird around A New Hope. I mean, I feel like some of these take place.
Maybe it'll be
outside.
a story that is like sets up the whole thing, and it's maybe it doesn't actually take place during A New Hope.
It could be just exactly that, like a first chapter,
Like the beginning of the book, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
From like a unknown writer or something. I could see them doing that. Really interesting about the artwork on some of these that you mentioned earlier, Dave, that were tweeted out by all these authors, and Del Rey, Star Wars Books, has retweeted a lot of these. There's a book on this image, and it has this sort of Jedi-looking symbol, which is the same symbol on the book in the trailer for The Last Jedi that Luke's glove hand touches, which is super interesting.
Wait, the Jedi symbol?
Yeah, it's that shot in the Last Jedi trailer where there's that book that has that symbol that looks kind of like a lightsaber.
It could be the Journal of the Wills.
It's speculated to be the Journal of the Wills, and now you have this excerpt from someone writing in the Journal of the Wills with a book as the icon.
Does the book have the Jedi symbol on it? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. No, I'm pretty sure that's a journal. It may not be the journal.
Could be just
something with because I guess we're under the assumption that this is the very first Jedi temple that's on Ahch-To, right?
Yep.
So that's where that book resides, I guess. Maybe it's Luke.
Maybe there's a tie-in to The Last Jedi.
Maybe it's Luke.
That'd be awesome.
Writing his journal in there. Whoa! That's awesome.
Don't know how it fits into A New Hope, but
it's coming out in less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks from
October 3rd.
2 weeks from Tuesday, I think, right?
October 3rd.
It usually comes out on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Because this week it's what's today? This 17, so 18, 19, then 26, and then 2 weeks from Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
it's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Definitely going to pick up this book.
I'll probably burn through this in no time.
Yeah.
In a night.
Well, because we'll probably take a couple episodes just talking about those stories. I mean, it's going to be incredible what they're going to reveal in there, I feel like. Also in the book world, real quick, is Canto Bight. They released the cover for that book. Canto Bight is the upcoming casino location in The Last Jedi. Again, there's 4 authors attached to this, so there's different storylines that's going on with the characters of Canto Bight. That book comes out December 5th, so about 10 days before The Last Jedi. So you can get that book and read all along. That is a adult novel, full novel journey to the Last Jedi series. You got Saladin Ahmed, Ray Carson, Mira Grant, and John Jackson Miller are your writers for that. Of course, audio form will be available then as well. So that's just a lot of good material coming out here as we get to The Last Jedi.
They gotta keep people busy.
Oh man,
there's a lot of tie-ins to The Last Jedi with Canto Bight and
they did the same thing 2 years ago for Force Awakens, Journey to the Force Awakens. They had novels, junior novels, all these novels, comics, kind of leading up to. I don't think they had they had Shattered Empire.
That was really good, and that was Greg Rucka.
It was.
He was also doing one of these short stories.
Very much so. Yep. So incredible, and I do want to point out this is actually pretty awesome. So anyway, full cast of like I said, on the audio side, you've got Jonathan Davis, who's a very Star Wars regular person, of course, Mark Thompson. But you have some well-known actors. Ashley Eckstein comes back, and she did the voice of Ahsoka in Clone Wars and Rebels, and she did the audiobook of Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. You got Jania Gavankar, who did Inferno Squad, and she is the character of Iden, the leader of Inferno Squad. She comes back and does. John Hamm is doing voice, and apparently he does Boba Fett.
Boba Fett story. Just going to be awesome.
NPH, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
January Lavoie, who does is a kind of a regular as well. I think she did. I want to say she did Bloodline.
NPH is going to do the Jedi Bro Code.
And I know I'm sorry, I'm going to kill this name here, but Saskia Marlavud. You got Carol Monda, you got Daniel Jose Older, and then Mark Thompson, like I said. Now, this is what's crazy, which I love these guys for, but apparently, straight from this source here, all participating authors have generously foregone any compensation for their stories. Instead, the proceeds will be donated to First Book, a leading nonprofit that provides new books, learning materials, and other essentials to educators and organizations serving children in need. To further celebrate the launch of this book and both companies' long-standing relationship with First Book, Penguin Random House that donated $100,000 to First Book, and Disney Lucasfilm has donated 100,000 children's books valued at $1 million to support First Book in their mission of providing equal access to a quality education. Over the past 16 years, Disney and Penguin Random House combined have donated more than 88 million books to First Book. So the authors aren't even getting paid for this. And I'm pretty positive that the cast is not either.
That's incredible.
So
that's
awesome.
That's a really awesome thing.
So go buy this book.
Yeah.
Your money's going to a great cause.
Yeah, really great cause.
So
buy two of them. Buy the audio book and buy the real book.
In fact, I'm going to do that, and I'll probably give away some on the show. So listen to the show over the next few weeks after the.
Well, I'm going to be listening to the
books.
show.
All right. So we will move on. No.
I'll buy it day of.
Yeah, day of. Okay, so real quick before we get into the big news, I want to talk about, of course, our journey to the Last Jedi. We've been putting out commentaries and trailers. September was a big month for us. We put 2 out there that you guys are enjoying right now, Rogue One and A New Hope. Real happy with the way those trailers kind of came out. Yeah.
For you guys listening, if you guys haven't checked out these trailers, go to InsideTheForce.com. Check out their YouTube channel as well. These trailers, Dave has cut them, and they are excellent. I mean, they're so cool. They're
fun.
I've only seen the New Hope one, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't see the Rogue One?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Rogue One was fun.
They're awesome. Yeah. To the score of the Last Jedi trailer and, all the sound effects and stuff that he's been able to go through and add in. I mean, these are really cool trailers.
And I'm really excited because I'm starting Empire this week.
Oh, yeah.
To get ready for October. Empire is going to be so fun to do. Cody's going to, as we said before, Cody's going to join us for episode 7 commentary when we get to recording that here soon.
Very excited about that.
We'll be releasing that 1st of December as we lead into the movie. And while
we're plugging videos, Cody also put together an amazing recreation of the last scene.
Yes,
of The Force Awakens. You should check that out. I don't know where they can find that.
It's if you search my Twitter or Instagram at Cody Geiler or just Cody Geiler on Instagram, I did the ending scene of The Force Awakens in Funko Pop form.
Yes,
I was gonna let that.
I need to put that on. I need to put that on our page, so I'll do that too.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
But you also cut a pretty cool one for The Last Jedi, right? Not like a little teaser.
Oh yeah, I did one a little while back,
but not with Pops. Not with Pops. No. This is like
it was Snoke's. It's more Snoke's
like,
dialogue of saying "The Last Jedi."
Oh right, right, yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cut to one of my favorite songs, but I'll.
So anyway, October. Coming in October will be episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, November will be Return of the Jedi, and then Force Awakens, 1st of December. So I'm almost, guys, it's 5 down, 3 to go. So looking forward to getting those done. So go check those out. Like you said, InsideTheForce.com. You can get to our YouTube channel there. They're always obviously right there on the website as well. Okay, so big news. Let's get into this. The director for episode 9 will be the return of J.J. Abrams. Last week, when we talked about this, I think it was kind of consensus that we all felt like he's an option, but he wouldn't come back.
I mean, he was in the two safe bets we kind of talked through, him or Rian Johnson.
But we all kind of leaned towards Rian Johnson.
We did. I think there was even a Deadline article.
Did you see him in Celebration, though? He looked tired.
Yeah, right. But see how excited he's been in the behind the scenes. Yeah, right. He's.
And I've actually, it hasn't been confirmed because no telling where these sources are coming from, but I did hear that Rian Johnson was offered the gig
before JJ
from Deadline. If you read their article about it, they said that they offered it to Rian Johnson, and then it said that they were in talks shortly after with JJ Abrams. So not confirmed, but that article is out there.
I don't know about that.
If you want to look at it and see for yourself. It seems like he was their number one choice. I mean, it happened very quickly.
Well, it does beg a little bit of a question of was Kathleen wanting JJ to do the entire trilogy? And maybe he just said he only wanted to do the one. Because remember, there's articles out there how he quoted by JJ, like he is sad he couldn't get his hands on the script of episode 8.
As soon as he read 8, I think his comment was, I wish that I was directing this.
Yes. So it makes you wonder, because again, it took Kathleen several tries to get JJ to come do episode 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he declined the first time.
And it wasn't until that question was posed, who is Luke Skywalker, that he said, you know what, I'm in. So now he gets a chance to answer that question, to be honest, because I think we'll get a lot of Luke Skywalker in 8, but the conclusion, obviously, of his story will probably come in 9. So I'll let you guys both answer in your own way your overall feeling of the announcement of JJ doing 9.
Guess who's back? Back again. No, I mean, I'm really excited about J.J. Abrams coming back. I mean, I think it makes perfect sense, especially given the circumstances. You've got episode 9. Colin Trevorrow was set to direct it. They had some script issues. They had some creative differences. He had a flop that came out recently. No telling how much of those things led into his firing, but most likely it was about the script. And, J.J. started this new sequel trilogy. It makes perfect sense to bring him back to finish it. He's a great director, a lot of sci-fi stuff under his belt. I mean, The Force Awakens was a huge success, $2 billion worldwide.
$2 billion.
Widely, I think among Star Wars fans and non-Star Wars fans. I mean, the thing that I always go back to with The Force Awakens, right now it's probably right up there as my favorite Star Wars film. But, I watched it, I loved it. But the thing that I thought was really interesting, I took my wife to see it. Not opening night, but the second day, went back for a second viewing, and she watched it. And after that last scene with Rey meeting Luke, the credits roll, and I hear her audibly just say, "Wow." And she is not a huge Star Wars fan. She doesn't really like the old Star Wars movies because she thinks they're a little dated, and she has a hard time with sci-fi and stuff. But the fact that I loved it and enjoyed it, and the fact that she enjoyed it, just shows how good J.J. Abrams is at getting not only fans to like a movie and to buy in, but for non-fans to be able to come to the table. I mean, it's what he did with Star Trek as well. So I think he's the perfect guy to come back and finish it. And he did, he posed a lot of these questions in episode 7. A lot of people have all these speculation and wondering, who's Rey's parents, who's Snoke, all this stuff. Now he gets to come to the table and answer those questions himself. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited.
I know Anthony's ready to answer.
Dave's smiling at me. I could do it in one word. Meh. I know I have an unpopular opinion about this. I love J.J. Abrams. I will get that out of the way right now. I love J.J. Abrams. I love The Force Awakens. We saw J.J. Abrams' Star Wars. I don't need to see another one. I want to see somebody else's Star Wars. That's what I was excited about. And I feel like it's not that it's taken some excitement away from me, but it's taken the edge off a little bit. That I don't get to see someone else's vision towards Star Wars. And I make this half jokingly, but 100% of the time where you've brought back a director that has previously directed Star Wars, it's been worse.
Well, okay.
I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I wish I could have seen someone else's Star Wars. And if you were going to bring back another director, I prefer Rian Johnson's directing style to JJ's, but that's just a personal opinion. That's just my personal preference. I like Ryan's movies better than JJ's. I think JJ was the perfect fit for The Force Awakens. It was nostalgic. It was lighthearted. It was everything you needed it to be to reinvigorate the Star Wars franchise. I do believe that. I wanted someone else to tie a bow on it. I don't.
Right.
So I think I wish I could have been here last week to discuss possible directors, because I had like so many in my mind. Like we had this text chain going like crazy, but the number one that popped up to me, that the cinematography style and the overall just I'm losing the word right now, but the all-encompassing, like just the all-around goodness. I think Alfonso Cuarón would have been a great choice for 9. That I'll just leave that there because it's obviously not going to happen.
Well, mention his movies, so
but
people don't know.
Like one of my favorite films, Children of Men, which is one of the best cinematic movies of all time, in my opinion. But then he's also got the big budgets under his belt. He has The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is arguably, for me, the best of the Harry Potters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best of the Harry Potters. So I think that would have been a really cool, like, wrap around, and like you get not three different points of views, but you get 3 different takes on this trilogy, which worked out really well for the first trilogy. So I don't see why they couldn't. I think Kathleen Kennedy has done a great job with Star Wars so far, but I think she lacks a little bit of risk taking. Like, this was a safe move, and it will be fine. It will. I have no doubt that Episode 9 will be great, and it will be everything that JJ can make it to be. It's just not what it's not. They missed an opportunity. I think they missed an opportunity to really do something great. Mm-hmm. And now, this is just, again, my opinion, but nothing ever great came from playing it safe.
Disagree. Well, you could say they took a risk with Colin Trevorrow, right? I mean, he's young. He directed Jurassic World.
Well, you can technically say they took a risk with Gareth Edwards, with Rian Johnson. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that was the right risk. I'm just.
Well, that's the thing, is they took a risk already, and I definitely see.
But we all said that Colin was the wrong choice at the beginning.
Probably.
Like when he was announced, everybody was kind of like, eh.
Yeah,
really?
I mean, it wasn't a huge shock for sure. So I can see the shock.
Sure,
I think it's 4 script rewrites since he was on.
Every movie has more than that.
But it was like overhauls.
Every movie has like 20 rewrites.
But from what I've read, I can't quote the source, but from what I've read, it was like overhauls. It wasn't just like.
Well, you had to be, for one, because Carrie Fisher passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
that's true.
There's a whole story you had to change, because she was apparently a prominent character.
That's
in 9.
fair.
Yeah, it was said that 9 was supposed to be Leia's movie.
Yeah,
because 7 was Harrison Ford's.
8's
supposed to be Luke.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, because I think, as far as different vision goes, but the only thing I would say about that is as I look on my wall here and I see I got a poster of Episode 7, I got a poster of Rogue One up there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, both of those movies being how different, 2 different directors, J.J. Abrams, Gareth Edwards. They both, to me, feel like a Star Wars film. Right?
Absolutely.
There's a standard that you, even if you are a director that comes in, is it really your vision that you're able to do in this? Because and Kathleen has said too, it's like she is protecting a brand, right? There is a it's almost like there's a guideline that is laid out by her and the story groups and whatever that you can tell the story in a way that works, but it has to work with like you don't have free reign, you don't have free creative ability like you would normally possibly that a studio would give you on a movie, because then they are ultimately obviously taking a risk on you, and then if the movie bombs, it is your fault. It's not the studio's fault, it's the director's fault. Mm-hmm. Here it really is Lucasfilm's fault if the movie goes bad. It's at least a director will probably get a lot of blame, but to me, they are being held differently and treated differently, giving less. I mean, you can just look at Phil Lord and Chris Miller, right? I mean,
yeah. If Han Solo bombs, I don't think it's Ron Howard's fault. I would say it would fall on Lucasfilm.
I agree. Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. Agree with that. Yes.
With that being said, though, and whether or not Rian Johnson was offered the job first or not, we don't know.
Right.
That's not confirmed. But with that being said, not being given that much latitude as a director, your sole purpose on that set, rather than vision, is coaching your actors. And in my humble opinion, Rian Johnson far exceeds JJ's abilities on that end of the spectrum from driving a performance out of somebody. So that's my humble opinion, though. I know Cody's looking at me like he's not going to drive home with me after this.
I love The Force Awakens, and I am a very big J.J. Abrams fan. I mean, I've enjoyed Lost and watching
Super
all the
8.
Star Trek movies, Super 8.
Loved it.
I didn't get into Felicity or any of the other TV shows that he did, but I mean, I've just been a huge fan of his and his production company, Bad Robot, and what they do. And I think that's what's interesting, what you get with hiring J.J. Abrams. You can say what you will about the style, and a lot of people made all these comments about the lens flares he did in Star Trek, and he was able to put aside a lot of his his own view and his own style in The Force Awakens. I think there are parts that seem very much like an Abrams movie, and then there's some parts where you realize he isn't shooting it like Star Trek. He's not shooting it like Super 8.
Right.
And I thought that was fascinating. And what you get with him is you get his sensibility, and he's obviously a Spielberg student, and
you could totally see that too.
And you see it in the cinematography of The Force Awakens, which I think is also fantastic. One shot that always comes to mind, and this is the point where I knew The Force Awakens was going to be good, is it's after the first opening scenes in space, and the shuttle comes down with the stormtroopers, but it's that tilt down on Jakku. BB-8 rolls into the right side of the frame. The camera kind of dollies around. BB-8 moves into a close-up and then goes out as the camera kind of pulls up, probably on a jib or something, and it just stays in that one shot the whole time. And that just feels like a Spielberg shot to me.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like you get that kind of style with him, and that's the kind of stuff I get excited about. And also his direction and his acting. But one thing I would say to people listening, and I want to give this to Anthony to listen to, is if you haven't checked it out, it's kind of hard to find. Force Awakens Blu-ray did not have a director's commentary, but the Force Awakens 3D box set has a Blu-ray, a DVD, a digital download, a 3D version if you have a 3D TV. I don't, but I bought it for the J.J. Abrams commentary. So check that out.
Okay.
You learn a lot about some of his decisions in The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good way to see into the method to the madness. But I would definitely recommend listening to that.
Well, I also think, not saying that JJ doesn't have any. I'm obviously a huge JJ fan. I said that from the beginning. But they went with JJ. He's a yes man for that. He's a yes man for them. The best yes man they can get for the studio, which is not a bad choice if you're the studio director. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm just saying my argument has always been that they missed out on an opportunity to see somebody else's Star Wars. I just want to see it so bad. That's all.
But you are getting those in these other movies.
I know, but I don't want to see him in the other. I mean, I know I'll see him in the other movies, but I want to see him in this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just throwing my little temper tantrum because I can. That's where else am I going to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. Because to be honest, I would have been okay with JJ doing the entire trilogy. I feel like
I don't think he's. I don't know if he's got it in him to do a dark sequel. That's just that's my only argument with the whole trilogy. I can see him doing doing 7 and 9, right. 8. I feel like you got to have something. I don't know.
Well, I
just never seen anything super dark from JJ.
You don't know technically how dark Episode 8 even is.
I don't know, but if it follows the progression of mirroring the other movies, then realistically,
2 wasn't that dark.
Seems like it's going to be dark. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, but 3 was more darker than 2.
Yeah. That's true.
Do you consider Rogue One dark?
Yes.
Okay.
Darker, not Empire dark.
Yeah, Empire was dark. Yeah, I mean, just because basically everything went bad. I mean, will everything go bad in this movie? I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to even sidebar. It's so hard to even speculate.
Yeah, I don't know
about Episode 8. I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea where the story's going.
They've held it so close.
All we've seen is a teaser.
A new trailer yet.
Well, and I saw just recently the novelization for Episode 8, The Last Jedi, isn't getting released until March of 2018.
Yeah.
And I think somebody asked Pablo Hidalgo about it on Twitter, and he said it's to avoid spoilers so that nothing gets out.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, you just see how tight it is.
Yeah, because Force Awakens, I think, came out in January.
So
Force
what's coming out in March 2018?
The novelization.
The novelization for the movie that comes out in December.
Episode 8.
It
usually comes out a few weeks after.
Yeah.
Or the day of.
Oh, probably because they probably haven't, it's probably just locked up somewhere.
What, the movie?
The book.
Oh, well, he's probably still writing it.
Probably.
Yeah,
but
he's probably still writing it.
That's probably
they just announced the writer at Celebration.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the things they announced was, I think it was Jason Fry was announced as being the writer for the novelization. And, of course, he's got, because I think, I could be wrong, but I think they get pre-screening showings of the movies before they go write the actual book. So
I gotta go write a book.
Yeah.
So he's probably watching the movie first in order to get the writing down, and and then he's got to read the scripts and adapt, and then of course he puts in his own stuff into it. But yeah, I haven't. That's one of the ones I haven't gone to. I haven't done the Force Awakens yet. I've been wanting to go back and do the novelizations for Force Awakens and Rogue One, but I haven't done those yet. But just to kind of get you get more inside intelligence of the characters a little bit more and what they're going through. Now again, I don't know if you guys know this. I've mentioned this on the show, but the Force Awakens novelization, again, they're supposed to be canon.
Supposed to be canon unless something in the movie contradicts it.
But
yeah.
But nowadays, I feel like it's should be pretty close. There shouldn't be a hole like that.
Yeah, you would think the story group's probably.
But the novelization of the Force Awakens, when Rey catches the lightsaber that flies, when Kylo Ren's trying to get the lightsaber and Rey. Have you guys heard this yet?
I have.
You've told me.
Oh, have I told you? Okay,
bit,
yeah. So when she catches the lightsaber, in the novel he looks at her and says, "So it is you," which obviously is not in the. Now, reports have been that was actually in the scripts as well.
There was a script that came out online, but I don't remember if it was in it or not.
Yeah,
to be honest.
didn't. But they didn't put it in the movie. So, does he know who she is? I mean, that's the big question. So, I guess we'll find out, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of line makes it sound like he does.
He does. Yeah. He's either heard of her or knows who she is, blah, blah, blah. So, interesting. But, no, my overall really just JJ is, I think the short answer is he's proven, maybe because of the turmoil that's happened with Lord and Miller, turmoil a little bit with Trevorrow, I guess. It's like
I'm sure their nerves are.
Do I want to get? Do I just want to get somebody that can finish this out right?
Right.
Yeah.
That'll do it right. Probably so. I mean,
I agree with that decision.
Yeah. I still want. I said this last week. I still want a Spielberg Star Wars movie.
Oh, so do I. I've always wanted a Spielberg.
It would be amazing.
That's what I was hoping to get that.
I know.
But he's not coming.
I feel like with...
I think he'd do a standalone. I don't think he'd do a not.
I don't know that he would do any at this point. And what he said about, being friends with George Lucas, that, Star Wars is George's genre. I'm not going to, go there. And he's kind of mentioned that in some articles. But I think what you get...
Now it's Kathleen's.
It is. She might be able to pull it, but with JJ, it is the closest thing to a Spielberg Star Wars.
I know,
as we can get. I
very
think.
much so. You probably, you probably.
In the commentary, he says he showed him cuts of the movie when he was working on it. Showed Steven Spielberg, and he made notes for him, and he made some changes, specifically in the Rey and Kylo fight scene. Really small thing that I'm remembering, but. With the trees falling as they're fighting with lightsabers. It was Spielberg's idea to have trees falling in the fight.
That's awesome, man.
So just little things like that.
Yeah.
Like you do get Steven Spielberg working, giving notes and helping through the process.
Wouldn't you think that was kind of like...
And other in 3 too? Or not 3, in 6 too, a little bit?
No, I know he was around... He was around the early cuts of 1. Episode 1. He was on set
supposed to direct Jedi.
He was, yes.
So I'm wondering if
but
he
that
also
that fell through early on
because
he wasn't willing to leave the.
Yeah, him and George were very close. I'm sure they shared things like that. Yeah. But that's the thing with a director like JJ, that if you hired a younger or took a risk on somebody, he's got all these connections with people and all these mentors that are also feeding into him. And I think it's really good for Star Wars that we're getting him back.
Yeah, I think so. So Anthony's good with it.
Yeah, as I texted Cody when he texted me the news as I got it, and I think I was a little bummed when I got it, because if there was going to be a return director, I wanted it to be Johnson, but I was a little not bummed, but a little disappointed. And I think I texted Cody. He said, "It's going to be great, man," and I said, "It will be adequate. It will do." So I'm not. I think it's going to be good. I'm not. I mean, it's Star Wars and it's JJ. It'll be good.
And there's a lot of other people that wanted other directors, and it's not an unpopular opinion.
But to come back to what you were saying about 8, just real quick, the reason why I know it's going to be dark is because Rian Johnson is directing it, and Steve Yedlin is the DP on it, and that's just who they are. So that's how I kind of know that it's going to be dark. Now, if it's not, I don't know what happens from there. But that's how I think it's going to be dark.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the DP of 8, because I think one thing that I'm excited to hear, we haven't heard yet for 9, is who will DP. Because, why am I blanking on his name? The guy that shot Force Awakens with JJ. We were talking about him on the way over, Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh, his DP?
His DP.
Normal DP, yeah.
That he's worked with. And I mean,
his producer, too.
He's great.
On it. Brad,
Brian Burke?
Brian Burke is his DP, right?
No, Brian Burke's the producer.
The producer, sorry, yeah. Brian
works
Burke,
with him.
Right. Brian Burke, yeah.
But,
he usually has the same DP for Star Trek, right? I think is that the same guy that did Star Trek and Force Awakens?
I believe so.
Yeah. And possibly Super 8 probably, too.
Is it Dan Mindell?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, Dan Mindell.
So Super 8 was a kind of dark film.
It was dark.
I mean, that was such a good movie. I've been wanting to go watch it again just to.
It was dark, but it was very nostalgic.
Well, it's
which is JJ's style.
It's the kind of it's like a darker version of Goonies in a sense, right? You know, but it was so good, so good. I love that movie. Anyway,
for 9, they also announced another writer who's co-writing with J.J. Abrams, which is Chris Terrio.
Chris Terrio, who is very connected to Ben Affleck in most senses.
He's an Academy Award-winning writer for Argo.
Yep.
And I think most recently he came in and did a rewrite, I believe, of Batman vs. Superman.
Yes.
He's done a little some other stuff since then.
I think he
Padme,
did he co-write The Town? Did he co-write The Town with Affleck? Maybe.
I don't know.
Or one of those movies he did with him. One of his other movies, I think. But Chris Terrio, you're right though. He's co-writing with Abrams.
Should be interesting because they haven't worked together before, have they?
No,
not that I know of. So that is an interesting choice, and that's kind of when I went back and read the press release, I was like, oh, Chris Terrio, huh?
See, I'm feeling like when I first heard that, I'm feeling like that was just never announced, but I feel like Terrio might have been already working on.
That's
the script.
What I'm thinking. That was like maybe a compromise to hire Colin. Almost, that's what my theory is on it. Is that was the compromise? Like, okay, if we're going to hire Colin to direct, we're going to get him to write it.
Well, they've had some other writers with Colin Trevorrow.
Yes.
So Chris Terrio, to our knowledge, hadn't been working on it until they released it. There was another writer, I don't know his name, who was working.
Yeah, I don't
know. See, that's where I feel like is that Chris might have been pulled in to fix, with the Leia issue. Mm-hmm. And maybe Colin didn't like what was going on and, wanted to do this, and the creative differences then come in. Sorry, you're out.
That is one thing I get disappointed with when it comes to Lucasfilms, is just I want to hear all the sides of the story so I can make my own educated opinion. Not these canned answers that come out on social media and Twitter.
What, the creative differences thing?
Yeah.
Well,
it's just like, let me hear the real story. And then I can make my judgment for myself. It's not going to make me not go see Star Wars.
Yeah, but basically the story is he wanted to do it his way, and they wanted to do it this way, and you're not going to get your way.
I know. Russell, I just want to hear the juicy details.
Russell Johnson made a really good point last week that directors, come on to start a movie, come off, they hire a new director that, meshes better or has a better vision or can, work with the studio better. And, writing, I mean, it's like a revolving door, even more so than directors.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
That they get somebody to start the script, you get somebody to come in and rewrite. Because, doing a rewrite of your own script is really hard. It's hard to get rid of your own ideas that you're attached to. So
that's why writers get paid to just give it up, basically. Mm-hmm. And they go off, and then that movie is not technically the one that they sold.
Well, and it's
mm-hmm.
also something completely different with something like Star Wars, where it's a franchise, and you're basically doing a pay-for-play contract as opposed to selling your own script.
Correct.
Yeah.
So with selling your own script, you get sequel rights. You get, if you negotiate properly, you get sequel rights. You get revision rights. You get all that. But with when you're paid to play.
Yeah.
Like you are there to write that script, and if they don't like it, they can kick you out and bring someone else in.
Totally.
They're probably using a lot of those ideas. Even back with, talk about Michael Arndt getting taken off of Force Awakens. Michael Arndt was still very much a part of the film that we saw, and the stuff that he wrote. They used those ideas that came from the treatments and that came from his original. And actually, again, call back to the J.J. Abrams commentary. He showed him an early cut of the film, and then, got some feedback from Michael Arndt. So, it's not necessarily always a bad thing when they're bringing different people to come and work to get to the better idea or make a script as good as they can. So I'm glad that they're making the decision now to make changes. But, Chris Terrio is interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't have ever thought of him writing a Star Wars movie. But
me neither. Yeah. So... But that's the news that we've gotten this past week. This changed everything as far as episode 9 goes. J.J. Abrams will be directing and co-writing it, and we will get that December 20th, 2019. We're talking about a movie. It's like 2 years from now, right?
So far away.
Episode 8 is not even here, but it is a mere 89 days away.
Yeah.
So we are under 90 days away from episode 8. I'm kind of not supposed to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I already reserved the screening for December 15th.
Perfect.
So
awesome.
I don't know what time yet because they haven't released times. That's the part I don't think I can say. But anyway, we got a screening that we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to go see it Thursday night as well.
Yeah,
of course.
So anyway, it's already getting there.
I know.
And
is it sad that I know that my wedding is 189 days away because Star Wars is 100 days out from my wedding?
Is it really?
And I know how far Star Wars is from right now. That's why I know how far my wedding is away.
Wow. I didn't know.
Priorities.
Priorities. Yeah, that's good.
That's really cool, though.
Hey, Star Wars is coming first. It doesn't come first. It just happens to be coming first.
It's just a fact.
Yeah.
It was just really weird that it's 100 days out from the wedding.
That is weird.
And I think over the weekend, the official Star Wars social media accounts just released a GIF kind of teasing The Last Jedi. It's a kind of cool GIF. They took the shot of Rey where she's sitting by the rocks and levitating some rocks, and it's like a still of Rey with the rocks levitating and moving.
Yes.
So you know that with Force Friday happening, with these things coming out, possible trailer maybe sometime in the next month or so.
Cody asked me to go through the Monday Night Football schedule and figure out which one was the biggest night.
Oh yeah, I have a really good idea about this trailer, because with the track record of Force Awakens, they released it Monday Night Football. Disney owns ABC. I think it's brilliant marketing, because you think about this, when that Monday Night Football game happened, everybody knew the trailer was kind of coming. Then you get all these nerds watching Monday Night Football. You got all the sports fans already watching their team in the football game. Now your audience is twice as big for the trailer. I mean, it is brilliant marketing when you think about it.
I mean,
although NFL ratings have been going down.
Yeah, well, but football's also become more of a nerd sport now with fantasy. Anyway,
sure.
Yeah.
So there's definitely more of a crossover now. But yes, you are correct. It's just a good marketing scheme. Real quick, I know that this is probably, you had mentioned this has probably been debunked. I don't know if you guys have already talked about the Lego set that came out on Force Friday with the Death Star in the background, but it says The Last Jedi on it, and it's the TIE silencer.
Oh, I heard about this. No,
Lego.
I heard about this. Yeah.
So Cody had found something where someone said it was a mistake.
Yeah,
someone used the wrong image for the Lego package.
It's like on Target or something, and it's an actual shot of a package. It's not photoshopped or anything, but it's got Kylo's TIE silencer and then the Death Star kind of in the background. But somebody mentioned it to Pablo, and he kind of said, don't take like a box art as any kind of confirmation for anything. And then I saw someone else's comment on it that noticed there were original trilogy era TIE fighters in the background, so it's clearly nothing to do with The Last Jedi, because the Death Star
used that image from,
the Death Star is like the
image.
fully constructed Death Star that it looks like the original one, and it didn't really make sense.
I thought you had found something that said someone said that was a misprint.
No,
well,
but
they obviously used the wrong image. Probably,
the TIE fighters in the sequel trilogy do look very different from the original TIE fighters. So it clearly is some sort of mistake.
So,
but
might be worth some money someday.
Yeah. If you pick up that Lego set, you might want to keep it.
So, just saying, not saying this is going to happen, but the premiere of Star Wars Rebels is on a Monday, October 16th, which there's obviously a Monday Night Football game Monday, October 16th, which is the Colts and the Titans.
So it's not going to be a popular game.
Not going to be a popular game, but it is. I don't know.
It's right in the middle of October.
It's October.
It makes sense.
Maybe that's why they would release it, to get those ratings up on Monday Night Football.
It's possible,
because that is a terrible Monday Night Football lineup.
I could see Disney doing that. Like, we're definitely going to attach it to this football game. We're going to get people watching it who wouldn't normally watch it.
And Rebels is that night as well.
Have it play near the end of the game or near the end of halftime, so they have to sit through the whole first half.
Yeah, I think they did halftime last time, didn't they, or something like that?
I don't see why they wouldn't do halftime.
Which would be after Rebels, because Rebels would play probably around 9 o'clock that night, and then the trailer would go. So after Rebels, go to Monday Night Football and watch the trailer for. I mean, that's possible.
October 16th.
You play it at halftime.
It's been confirmed here.
You play it at halftime, then you play it every single commercial break after that, because you know that people are going to watch it over and over.
Well, they're going to go online and watch
true.
it like crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. But real quick before we break. Do you or do we need another trailer for episode 8?
Need? I mean, I want one.
We don't need one.
Do you need one? Like right now, if they said there's not going to be anything until the movie,
I like the mystery of it.
Would you be okay with that?
See, that's a great question, because like this day and age, with the amount of marketing material we get and the amount of movies that get spoiled through trailers well in advance, I mean, it really does. It's unfortunate. I mean, you end up seeing something that you don't want to see, and then it kind of spoils that for you when you go watch in the theater because you're like, I've seen this before.
Yeah, we have a guy that we work with that left. What were we at? What were we saying?
He left a Marvel movie,
Guardians of the Galaxy, because he did not want to see.
Scott, right?
Yeah, Scott did not want to see.
He doesn't watch trailers, period. Though.
Right.
So,
right. But I kind of agree with that at this point. Like, I needed to see the Last Jedi teaser. I needed to see that.
Do you need to see another one?
I don't think so. I would like to see one, but I almost don't want to.
Because it will give more of the story.
I know.
So here's, I think why, I don't know that I need to see one, but people who might not be huge Star Wars fans, the teaser says nothing about what the story is. Now, if you've seen The Force Awakens, you probably can kind of guess, and you kind of know where they're going. You know, Rey's trying to find Luke. Rey wants to learn from Luke.
Yeah.
Luke hopefully is going to end up training Rey, most likely.
Something's
Maybe
wrong
he's
with
a little
Luke,
reluctant.
Something's wrong with Luke.
His brain's broke.
Chewbacca's going to hang out with some porgs.
Yes.
But I think a
What if he
story
eats a
trailer
porg?
would make...
I think he's going to become best friends. It's going to be the best. Like,
There's an image of him in like a cockpit that looks like there's like a feather floating around. Have you seen this image?
No.
You haven't seen this
I'm
image?
telling you, Chewbacca and Porg is going to be
I think
like
it's
the
from
new
the
Chewbacca Han.
I think it's from the behind the scenes trailer.
Oh, he might just knock it off the counter. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
And I think somebody mentioned like, does Chewie
Eat them.
Some
I'm sure
kind
he
of
probably
like-
thinks they look good. No doubt about that.
That'd be cool.
Funny.
I don't know. I don't know. It's so close now. Like I would be fine without a trailer, and honestly, I would not be upset if they did not put another one out there. Now, it is not. It is inevitable that they will put one out. I mean, I think it's a marketing disaster if you don't put one out. To be honest,
I think it's a different situation than it was in Force Awakens because they released Force Awakens a year out?
Over a year.
Well, they
It was-
really
it was November
a teaser,
a year and a half. It was the November a year before, so 2014
right. So
was the first time we got
the trailer wasn't.
But
But
it was-
trailer was in January, wasn't it?
for a trailer was
or no, it
Celebration
was
in April.
Oh, was it in April? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And then we got another one like in October-ish.
which that trailer was technically, I think, still called teaser number 2.
It was
or something.
but that was the one you
Right.
got Han saying
you
we're
got Han,
home.
yeah.
which was we need a hype moment. So I mean, the Last Jedi trailer is awesome. I loved it. I loved being at Celebration and seeing it there. I mean, it was amazing. And you know, you got Luke and he's narrating the whole thing, and you're just listening to Luke Skywalker talk again.
You need a
and
moment with Rey and Luke talking to each other or something like some kind of.
I feel like
I
need.
think we're gonna get a lot. I think we're getting a lot more than what we want to see. To be honest,
I feel like they're gonna have one of those hype moments of like Luke either using the Force or something.
His
I mean,
lightsaber.
If he
Totally.
lights up a lightsaber, I'm gonna lose it.
I know, right?
and that's the kind of moment that like I do feel like I don't.
That's what I thought we were gonna get in the teaser.
Yeah, you say
see
like,
more
do we
of a
need it?
hard-ass
I don't know
Luke.
if I need it, but
I want it.
See,
Yeah.
I need Kurt Russell in Miracle, Luke. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's got the guys on the line skating. If you've never seen Miracle, it's a great movie
Yeah,
about the 1984
yeah.
Olympics hockey team. But Kurt Russell's playing the coach, and he's got him on the blue line to blue line, and he's just blowing his whistle again.
Yeah,
And I just want to see Luke just again.
but like I feel like I don't
With Rey.
want to see it until the movie, but I feel like the next trailer we're gonna get a shot of Snoke,
Which you mean Jar Jar?
Jar Jar.
the weird thing with Snoke is in all the Force Friday things that have come out in you know the marketing stuff is there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I've seen now that I feel like I've seen more of the movie than I
in merchandise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that wouldn't like spoil anything for me because you kind of already got some images of Snoke floating around.
You got it, but you know, just see him on there. I don't know, and to say something. I don't know. I wanted to kind of save that part, but maybe we won't. Maybe they'll save it. I don't know. Whatever we see from now on, I think is going to be a little bit more telling. And of course, I mean, it helps us, especially doing the show, is like it gives us a chance to start speculating what we actually think the story is going to be. You know, because we did a pretty, in fact, before every movie, we have kind of done an episode where it's like, okay, here's our full predictions of where we know the locations are, and you know. Like with Rogue One, you know, what's the order? Do they go to Jeddah first, and then the Edu, and then the you know whatever? But so it allows us. Like right now, I couldn't even do it. I have no idea. I have no idea what to do.
It's hard. I mean, yeah,
because there's nothing. All I know is like all I would think is that Kylo regroups and they fight Rey and Luke.
There's going to be a sweet.
I have no idea about the resist. Like the resist. There's no Republic, man. There's no Republic. It's gone. And this is this is a lot shorter gap than we have gotten in any other film.
It's supposed to pick up right where it left off.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Rian Johnson in the production teaser for the movie way back when production started is basically reshooting the scenes of Rey holding out the lightsaber and Luke standing there. And, the lighting's just a little bit different and the angles are a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was talking to somebody recently about where we think Last Jedi is going to pick up. I mean, quite literally, they could just start Luke's point of view of the Falcon arriving and do that whole ending scene again.
They could.
Kind of from his perspective, and it's just a different way to start.
And then they could they could do a little bit of a time jump.
That would be strange.
There could be some training involved, and there could be some like couple weeks that go by.
So with Kylo going to Snoke and with Rey going to Luke, I know one guarantee, and that's going to be there's going to be a sweet 1980s Rocky IV like training montage.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yes. Oh, I don't even know. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's going to be back to back like mashup of the two of them.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Training montage shows progression of time. You got Kylo getting just
be perfect.
Beat with dark side knowledge or whatever, and then
Kylo's got all the fancy machinery, and Rey's just on.
He's doing sit-ups while someone's hitting his abs.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sure. Rey's just running laps around the temple.
Right.
There. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, I can see that. That's actually what you should do. You should cut a
she tries to
training
catch
sequence
a porg.
of Eye of the Tiger.
That would be sweet.
She's trying to catch a porg. It's running around the mountain.
Yeah.
That's part of her training.
If we get some training scenes in the next trailer, we'll cut it to Eye of the Tiger.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This episode has gone way too long, but some great conversations. We'll keep having more as we lead up to The Last Jedi, of course, here in a couple months. This is episode 197, like I said, so we are getting close to the number 200 here for Inside the Force. So that's 3 weeks from now, which is, I think we just said October 16th, right around that time. That maybe we get a trailer. So that's what we planned.
Yeah,
that's what we planned it that way.
Yeah,
200th episode, we'll talk about the new trailer. So, all right, thanks guys for coming, Cody.
Anytime.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
Anthony.
Thanks for having me.
It's fun.
It's been fun. It's been awesome. We'll get more of these guys' opinions, obviously, as we go on. Some great big stuff coming. Like I said, Rebels is coming back. Last Jedi. Of course, at some point, we should get some kind of teaser for Han Solo as well. Mm-hmm. Speculations on when that would drop. We're talking maybe Thor in November. Next big Disney movie. There is a Pixar movie coming in late October. The Kojo or something like that. The animated.
Coco?
I don't think they're going to release it before Jedi.
I don't know, man. Because you get to Jedi, it's 5 months.
I know.
5 months.
Yeah.
And no marketing at all.
I think we need to see something.
I think we have to see something soon. I think you have to put something out
but
before.
It's just so weird to like the timing's off.
Well, I mean, yeah, because of the whole changeover, I'm sure it is.
I guess I could see them kind of spacing out their announcements where you get like a title and some imagery, and then you get a trailer around when Jedi comes out or Last Jedi comes out.
I mean, I definitely think you'll get. I don't think the title. I think the title will be revealed in the trailer.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get before that. But I think we should get an image of Han and an image of because they usually always put like a gallery out of images before. So I do think we'll get those images before, but who knows? I don't know. That movie's so it's so much we don't know about that movie right now. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
and it's not that very far away. It's not like it's a year, December of next year. It's like it's May.
Yeah, it's like
right now it's
less than 250 days away.
Yeah, right now it's 8 months. Yeah, I think, right? 8 months. October, November, December. Yeah, 8 months.
Should be a trailer out right now.
It should be. That's right. Should be.
Check my phone.
That's why we thought at Celebration we were getting something,
Yeah.
But anyway.
Maybe because at Celebration they knew that they were having issues.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's true, too. That's probably why they didn't show up. We appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with us. InsideTheForce.com. Of course, Inside the Force on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We got Twitter guys here. Cody Geiler at Cody Geiler on Twitter.
Cody Geiler
and at
Twitter and Instagram
at Cinesnugs.
Cinesnugs.
Yeah, that's Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, Cinesnugs. Of course, again, Anthony was on our episode 3 commentary. Go check that out. You will hear Cody on our episode 7 commentary. J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it'll basically be a J.J. Abrams commentary. I've memorized his commentary. I'm going to just deliver it to you.
I'm going to listen to that by the time we get to that recording.
If you don't have the 3D, I'll let you borrow it.
Actually, I need that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't think I want to buy that. Because I don't have a 3D. I have no use for 3D. Anyway, that's the only reason I haven't bought it. Is
you can just watch it with 3D glasses on and pretend.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Again, don't know when Casey will be back. If not, I'm sure I'll get these guys to come back on the show next week. So
that's fine.
We'll see. Appreciate it, guys. InsideTheForce.com. Of course, go to our YouTube channel. We've been planning on putting a lot more content on there here soon. Me and Casey have been talking a lot about that. But right now, the commentary and the trailers are there. Again, our journey to the Force, or our journey to the inside, our journey to the Last Jedi, with all these trailers. I'm working on episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, which will be released in early October. So excited about that. Our guest on that will be Chad Perkins. Will be our guest.
Awesome.
Yeah, for that. So we haven't recorded it yet. We're going to do it here soon. So I haven't even done that one yet. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. That's really it. So thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Dave, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Inside the Force, a Star Wars podcast hosted by David Cottingham and Casey Cooney. For more shows, additional content, articles, and the latest Star Wars news, please visit InsideTheForce.com. Inside the Force. For the Force in all of us.